In Ahun's tent, his sister lies on the ground, experiencing considerable discomfort. Vikir, Ayin, and Ahun are diligently assessing the situation. Vikir inquires about the onset of the condition, to which Ahun responds, "Since yesterday. I believe she ventured into the swamp while we were gathering wood for the construction." Ayin acknowledges Ahun's sister as a benevolent individual who consistently assists others. Turning to Vikir, Ahun seeks guidance, asking, "Do you have knowledge of the appropriate course of action?" Before Vikir could respond, Shaman entered the room with evident displeasure. Expressing frustration, he remarked, "Wandering without heeding the advice of his grandfather, she reaps the consequences. This is the inevitable outcome when one aligns themselves with the words of that imperial spy." Ahun rose from his seat, addressing the shaman as grandfather in protest. However, the shaman, consumed by anger, silenced Ahun with a sharp command to shut his mouth. With a forceful slap, he disparaged Ahun as a useless bastard, drawing a hurtful parallel to Ahun's parents. Stunned into silence, Ahun was rendered speechless as the shaman prepared to depart, unfurling his umbrella. Before leaving, he reiterated his previous warnings with a note of finality. "This is a divine curse, and the solution lies in performing an ancestral rite. Let us not tarnish the Balak name by yielding to imperial influences. Given the gravity of the situation, the matriarch is likely to grant permission." The shaman concluded with these words before exiting the room, leaving Ahun visibly distraught. Ayin, expressing deep displeasure at the shaman's behavior, looks on with anger. Ahun breaks into tears unexpectedly. In response, Vikir addresses the situation by stating, "If you are referring to a remedy, there is one available." "Vikir," said Ahun, "please sterilize the furniture utilized by Ahul with boiling water. Subsequently, initiate the burning of charcoal in the bonfire to expel any pests and bats lingering around the premises. It is imperative that we establish a conducive environment for Ahul to contend with the ailment, affording us the necessary time. Can you undertake these tasks, Ahun?" Vikir asks. Ahun, after wiping away his tears, responds affirmatively. Ayin, filled with hope, joyfully asks Vikir if he can truly save Ahul. Vikir confirms his ability and then requests Ayin's assistance. Ayin, surprised, eagerly declares, "Me? I'll do anything." Vikir's response stuns Ayin as he instructs, "Bring me out of the deep forest, and I'll be able to procure the necessary medicine for the infection." Ayin starts shouting at Vikir, expressing her disapproval. Ahun, who is listening from outside the room, hears her emphatic words. She declares, "Even though you are acknowledged as a member of the Balak, there is a condition for going out into a foreign land. There's no way my principled mother would allow that." Vikir responds, "Yes, the principled matriarch would most likely give up on Ahul. If the people here keep it a secret, I could sneak out and return without anyone knowing that I left." Vikir then seeks permission from Ayin, who, visibly affected, gives a nod of agreement after a brief pause, acknowledging the gravity of the situation. The scene transitions to a jungle where the rain is intense. Vikir moves swiftly, navigating through the trees with agility, resembling a wild beast. Suddenly, he halts and turns to find Ayin following him. He questions her, "Why are you following me? Didn't you let me go? Why are you getting in my way?" Ayin persists. "Let's go together. Tell me where you're going." Vikir remains firm, replying, "No." Ayin then questions, "Then why are you taking Palmerian? And when a sword came out of your arm? And when you knew about Red Death?" "I didn't ask." Ayin confesses, "I knew from the first time we met that I would always give in to you." As the past memories between them resurface, moments of meeting, joy, and mutual rescue, Ayin confronts Vikir with a heartfelt question, "But just answer me one thing, will you come back?" Vikir responds reassuringly, "I will come back," and departs, leaving Ayin behind. The scene transitions to Secretary General Chihuahua, who, tired of paperwork, approaches the window and reminisces, "It was nice back then. When the deputy consul was here, the work was tiring but fun." Secretary General Chihuahua, believing the deputy consul Vikir to be deceased, expresses his longing for him. To his surprise, Vikir appears seemingly out of nowhere, hovering in front of Chihuahua. Vikir casually asks, "Did you call me?" as Chihuahua, startled, finds himself taken aback. However, Vikir, adopting a Spider-Man pose, lightens the mood and adds, "How have you been, Secretary General Chihuahua?" The scene shifts to Chihuahua, and Vikir sitting and Chihuahua asking Vikir, a monster from the deep forest, "You received a critical injury, and you were with the barbarians?" Vikir say yes, but Chihuahua still think that Vikir is a ghost. Vikir sips his tea and said, "So that's why you were shocked for so long. You're still the same, Secretary General Chihuahua." Chihuahua tears burst and happy to see Vikir's alive and ask Vikir about who's the child that resembles you. Is she perhaps your and a barbarian's child? But Vikir respond, "No. Our bloodline is the same, so we look the same. But it's not what you're thinking." Chihuahua contemplates the revelation that they share the same bloodline, intrigued by the mystery that goes beyond his current thoughts. Vikir then turns to Chihuahua and asks, "Can you look after this child while I'm gone? Her name is Pomerian. Since it has come to this, it would be beneficial for her to undergo basic education under your care." Chihuahua responds with joy, "It's been a while since I've gotten an order from you. Please leave it to me." Vikir, expressing concern, remarks, "But isn't it difficult for you to take on the work for Underdog City by yourself, Secretary General? If you need help, go find Cindy Wendy Sen Mesamaginero." Chihuahua questions, "Isn't Cindy Wendy the criminal you released 2 years ago during the plea deal?" "But how do I find her?" Vikir responds, "Do you remember the time I was in the office and gave 10 billion to that girl?" Chihuahua affirms, "Yes, you gave that to Judy, who sold flowers." Vikir acknowledges, "Yes, no one's supporting her, so approaching her will be easy. She should have gone with that child. If Cindy Wendy doesn't cooperate, you can tell her that I'm alive." Chihuahua, visibly relieved, responds, "Okay, I understand. But Deputy Consul, when will you be returning?" Vikir calmly sips his tea and replies, "I'll come back after I finish what I need to do. I must fulfill my promise that I already made with Ayan. Treating Ahul's Red Death can be done quickly with a single drop of holy water from that clan." As Vikir contemplates his course of action, a little girl behind him grabs Chihuahua's beard, seeking Vikir's assistance. Vikir conveyed, "I am en route to visit the esteemed and sacred Quo Vadis clan." The scene transitions to 2 guards stationed at a checkpoint, obstructing the path of a merchant. They informed the individual, identified as Sir Joseph, the manager of the oil shop on the 1st floor, that they would be conducting a swift inspection and inquired about the contents he brought with him. The merchant responded with a restrained laugh, stating, "It's oil, as indicated on my import permit." However, the guard appeared skeptical, expressing the need for a thorough inspection. The visibly nervous merchant remarked, "I come here quite frequently. Is it really necessary to check every time?" The guard explained, "Adherence to formalities is highly valued by the higher-ups." Selecting a barrel for inspection, the guard chose one situated behind him. The apprehensive merchant observed as the guard opened the barrel, revealing only oil. Satisfied, the guard gestured approval, welcoming the merchant to St. Mecca. The merchant arrives at St. Mecca and pauses at a location of concern, summoning an unidentified individual to reveal themselves. Suddenly, a forceful blow emanates from a nearby barrel, startling the merchant. To their surprise, Vikir emerges from the barrel, wearing a mask saturated with oil. The shaken merchant stammers, "Since I have fulfilled my promise of facilitating your entry into St. Mecca, may I depart now?" Vikir responds with a brief pause, saying, "Wait," and then hands over a pair of ox bears to the merchant before departing. The merchant contemplates, observing Vikir after being submerged in oil for over 2 hours. The thought crosses his mind, "He's not human, is he?" Vikir, removing his mask, calmly remarks, "It's my first time undergoing such an immersion since the River Styx, where I was submerged for 7 minutes. Nonetheless, I have successfully infiltrated the Quo Vadis territory." St. Mecca, the central city of the Quo Vadis clan, boasts a population of 160,000 residents. Due to the influence of the church, stringent regulations are imposed on sexual desires and greed. The populace demonstrates an unwavering commitment to order and public peace, to the extent that they would consciously ignore even the presence of gold lying on the ground. The citizenry, cognizant of maintaining strict adherence to established rules, upholds a disciplined and orderly way of life. Abruptly, bells resonate in the vicinity, prompting Vikir to reflect on the tower's bell ringing. He notes the peculiar practice of individuals ceasing their movement and engaging in prayer. As Vikir navigates through the crowd of individuals donning white hoodies, he contemplatively remarks on the challenges of living within such restrictive confines, expressing his sentiment on the perceived suffocation of their existence. As night descends, Vikir, masked, positions himself by the well. He proceeds to combine a pink substance with the water, intending to introduce the infectious bacteria associated with the Red Death present in Ahul's blood, sweat, and tears. Recognizing the highly contagious nature of this plague, Vikir anticipates immediate transmission to individuals who come into contact with the contaminated well water. Despite the extreme nature of the method, the urgency of the situation necessitates immediate action, and every passing minute is of paramount importance. Given the religious and holy nature of the territory, the expectation is that intervention will occur promptly, mitigating potential casualties. Unexpectedly, 3 children approach, inquiring about Vikir's identity. They express concerns about a suspicious individual near the well, suggesting a departure from the area due to perceived danger. Vikir cautions the children about the well, indicating it is cursed, and those consuming its water will be immune to dental concerns. Despite his warning, the children, misconstruing Vikir's intentions, hastily flee, labeling him as a spectral figure. Undeterred, Vikir adapts his plan, ensuring that the children refrain from drinking from the well. His attention is drawn to a purple dagger behind him, left by the Leviathan clan renowned for their lethal poisons. Assessing the circumstances, Vikir deduces that the perpetrators responsible for spreading the Red Death in the deep forest were none other than members of the Leviathan clan. Considering the long-standing strained relationship between the religiously holy clan and the deadly poison clan, the implementation of this plan is likely to incite a significant conflict, thereby concluding my preparations. Vikir contemplates, now with the imminent release of holy water, should I proceed to meet with the saints, specifically Dolores? The scene transitions to the Palace of Saints, where a considerable gathering of people has assembled, expressing their desire to pay respects to saints. They implore for the doors to be opened, urging, "Saints, please acknowledge saints. We wish to see your countenance, saints." Unexpectedly, Saint's voice emanates from behind the closed door, questioning the purpose of their late-night visit. 3 nobles appear, introducing themselves one by one with the intention of proposing marriage to Saints. Saints, however, interjects, expressing uncertainty about their identities and wealth, stating that mere affluence is insufficient justification for opening the gates at such a late hour. Saints requests their departure. As the entire crowd retreats, Vikir remains stationary, carefully assessing the unfolding scenario. He reflects on past experiences, noting that before his regression, he frequently observed saints actively participating on the front lines. Vikir vividly recalls instances where saints, adorned in blood-soaked garments, earnestly attended to the wounded. Despite the stains on her once white attire, her divine power continued to emanate. In Vikir's contemplation, he recalls the saints he knows, one who harbors a disdain for wealth and authority. Saints queries Vikir, asking about his purpose for seeking her. Vikir, in a submissive gesture, kneels and replies, "Just a young lamb who has lost its way." The door opens, emitting a warm glow of yellow light from within, and Saints extends an invitation for Vikir to enter. As Vikir steps inside, he observes a sizable statue holding a water vessel. A voice emanates from within the statue, inquiring about how he lost his way. Vikir, in contemplation, wonders if Saints will not personally meet him, surmising that she may find his attire suspicious and see no reason to engage with him directly. Vikir places his pouch near the water and straightforwardly states, "I've come to report that there's an epidemic spreading throughout the slums. I've brought the water from their well, and if you possess divinity, I'm sure you'd be able to detect the wicked energy exuding from this water." In response, Saints, expressing anger, accuses Vikir of deception and summons her guards. The leader questions Vikir's aggressive tone and demands to know his identity, referring to him as a young lamb who has lost its way. Vikir recognizes the individual as Pietro Quo Vadis, someone he once trusted on the battlefield before his regression. Pietro is known for his unwavering commitment to justice, often displaying a ruthless demeanor when necessary. Vikir acknowledges Pietro's presence, expressing surprise at how this acquaintance recognizes him. Pietro responds, stating he heard about Vikir's report on the epidemic, but deems his attire suspicious. Pietro insists that Vikir remove his mask and show respect before meeting Saints. Vikir explains the necessity of his gas mask, citing an inability to remove it. Having fulfilled his reporting duties, Vikir declares his intention to depart. In response, Pietro hurls a sharp blade toward Vikir, narrowly avoiding him, and commands the departure of the perceived suspicious individual. Vikir contemplates whether Pietro infused the throne paper with divine power, acknowledging Pietro's continued use of intriguing weapons. However, Pietro, appearing displeased, leaps, generating a shockwave on the ground, and asserts, "I can sense wicked energy coming from that water pouch you brought. If it truly is an epidemic, then you're the one who spread it." Vikir retorts, "If I'm the culprit, why would I come here to report it?" Pietro remains skeptical, suggesting it could be a tactic to lure the Saints out. Vikir, taken aback, realizes that every word Pietro is saying holds a degree of truth. Pietro unleashes a barrage of paper magic towards Vikir, who effortlessly evades the onslaught. Vikir, mindful of maintaining his cover as a Baskerville, employs strategic thinking and launches himself towards Pietro. Delivering a forceful kick, Vikir's attack is met with Pietro's resilient defense. Pietro, surprised by the strength emanating from Vikir's seemingly petite frame, remarks on the impact resembling that of a boulder. Subsequently, Pietro forcefully throws Vikir off. Vikir reflects inwardly, acknowledging the proficiency he gained after defeating the Ox Bear 2 years ago, specifically the stability equivalent to 1,600 kg. It marks his initial utilization of this skill, and the result is satisfactory. Motivated, Vikir advances toward Pietro, delivering a rapid succession of 1,000 punches. However, Pietro adeptly parries each strike using his book as a shield. Undeterred, Vikir channels a red aura into his hand, referred to as Cerberus Flame A+, directing its fiery intensity toward burning Pietro's protective book. Pietro, fueled by anger, launches a forceful charge towards Vikir. In response, Vikir strategically throws the burning book onto Pietro's face, obstructing his vision. Taking advantage of the situation, Vikir delivers a powerful punch with full force, propelling Pietro into a statue. Pietro, in the aftermath, coughs up blood. Witnessing Pietro's condition, the guards react with shock, rushing to his aid. However, the Saints intervene, instructing them to cease their efforts. Turning her attention to Vikir, the Saints quizzically inquire, "Are you a lost lamb, or perhaps more of a puppy than a lamb?" A small puppy, yet covered in injuries. One of the guards interjects, addressing the Saints, "Saints, that person is not a puppy, he's a blood-crazed wolf." Undeterred, the Saints instruct the guards to fetch the tea, expressing an intention to engage in a conversation with Vikir. The scene transitions to Saints' chamber where Vikir, Saints, and a bodyguard are seated. Despite the bodyguard's stern gaze, Vikir reflects on Saints, recognizing her as a 16-year-old named Saints Dolores Lun Quo Vadis. In subsequent years, amid the conflict against demons, Saints distinguished herself by providing medical care on the front lines, contributing significantly to the preservation of numerous lives. Regarded as an embodiment of benevolence, she earned widespread respect from martial artists, including Vikir, during the challenging era of ruin. Saints confides in Vikir, expressing recent stress, a revelation that surprises him. She further discloses her status as a student enrolled in the Imperial Academy Colosseum. During the holidays, she is presently on a hiatus from academic pursuits and attending to familial responsibilities. Vikir, taken aback by the unexpected shift in conversation to more commonplace matters, wonders about the nature of this sudden transition. She alludes to the persistent demands from nobles and merchants, as witnessed moments ago, who seek her assistance irrespective of the hour. The illnesses they present for her treatment predominantly involve either the aftereffects of narcotics or sexually transmitted infections. She notes that there hasn't been a single case of a person facing a severe or life-threatening illness among those who seek her aid. She delicately sips her tea and reflects, "Justice, righteousness, equality, and gods, well, why is it that people often fail to see beyond their immediate surroundings?" Vikir responds to Saints, stating, "Theology essentially encompasses the understanding of human nature, making it an inevitable pursuit." This statement catches Saints off guard. Vikir then references the Old Testament, Amuser, chapter 6, verse 9, expressing surprise at encountering someone familiar with such ancient passages. Of greater significance, an epidemic has permeated the slums of St. Mecca. Saints queries Vikir about the accuracy of this information. Vikir confirms, stating, "This pouch contains water contaminated with the infection, which I personally collected from a well in the slums." Saints inquires further, asking Vikir if he is implicated in this incident. Vikir retorts, "If I were involved, would I willingly present myself here?" He contemplates, acknowledging the inevitability of being viewed with suspicion. He raises his hands, poised to take action, while the saint's bodyguard observes Vikir, vigilant in fulfilling his duty to protect. Vikir reassures, expressing a personal aversion to causing harm to innocent individuals as a yellow aura emanates from his hands, a manifestation of his abilities since his time in his hometown. Saints registers shock and queries, "Is this the divine power you once believed in, Lun?" Vikir responds by clenching his fist, prompting him to ask, "Will you now listen to what I have to say?" He proceeds to reveal having identified suspicious individuals pouring liquid from glass bottles into the slum's waters, marking them as potential criminals. Saints, intrigued, questions Vikir about their motives if his account holds true. Vikir retrieves maps from his jacket, asserting that the criminals likely harbor intentions for the decline of the Quo Vadis family and stand to gain from such a downfall. He lays out the maps on the table and directs attention to the Leviathan clan, highlighting them as the primary beneficiaries. Vikir explains that the deadly and poisonous Leviathan clan, along with the conglomerate bourgeois family, stands to gain significantly. The Leviathan clan, in particular, could exploit the epidemic by collecting samples from numerous patients for research purposes. Furthermore, in the event of the downfall of the divine Quo Vadis family, no other strategy proves more advantageous for the antagonistic Leviathan family. The bourgeois family, too, stands to gain from this orchestrated decline, as valuables tend to endure even during an epidemic. As laborers succumb to death, landowners will face financial ruin. The resulting abundance of vacant fields, factories, and stores creates an opportunity for the family to acquire diverse real estate and embark on new business ventures. Vikir asserts, "I am certain that the perpetrators behind the spread of the Red Death are the Leviathan individuals. The bourgeois merchants collaborated with them to exploit the situation for their mutual benefit. The natives of the deep forest are made scapegoats, facilitating gains for both clans. Given these considerations, I posit that they have a direct connection to the current epidemic. However, I must emphasize that this remains a speculative hypothesis on my part." Saints is rendered momentarily speechless by this theory, contemplating its plausibility. The idea that someone could accurately anticipate future events prompts her to question Vikir's identity, wondering, "Just who on earth are you?" Vikir responds with a cryptic statement, "Let's just say I'm the Knight Bloodhound." Saints, finding the name slightly ominous, comments on the choice. The bodyguard adds a playful remark, suggesting that the name should align better with Vikir's attire, finding the current association somewhat irreverent. Saints contemplates, regardless, the assertions made by the Knight Bloodhound seem plausible. She directs Sir Pietro, stating, "We must visit the slums to investigate the epidemic and subsequently report our findings to Father." Simultaneously, Vikir reflects, recognizing his fortuitous encounter with saints. He anticipates that events will now unfold swiftly. Observing Vikir, Saints wonders about the incongruity she perceives. Despite defeating the unparalleled Sir Pietro and the Holy Knights, Vikir appears diminutive and forlorn. Her concern deepens as she reflects on the complex aura emanating from Vikir, suggestive of blood, oil, steel, violence, pent-up anger, and a tinge of hatred. Amidst this whirlpool of emotions, she finds herself pondering the identity of this enigmatic individual. As night falls, Saints, accompanied by Pietro and Vikir, arrives at the church to assess the condition of the infected individuals. To her dismay, she is confronted with a significant number of afflicted people, validating the Night Bloodhound's earlier assertions. Deeply affected, Saints wrestles with regret, contemplating, "I'm sorry. Due to the constraints of time, I inadvertently involved the civilians." She approaches the infected bodies, expressing gratitude that at least there are no children among them. Reflecting on her attempt to instill fear among the children at the well, she wonders if it had any effect. Confronted with the realization that the disease is in its initial stages, she acknowledges that she has no choice but to entrust the remainder of the situation to the resources of the Church and the compassion of the saints for these unfortunate individuals. She clasps her hands around an infected individual, reassuring, "Do not worry. The divine and sublime love of God Lun will bring healing to all of you." She proceeds to offer a prayer, invoking divine light, acknowledging her sins, and beseeching for mercy upon the gathered, pitiful individuals. As tears stream down her face, a yellow liquid accumulates in a water pot, symbolizing her emotional release. Suddenly, a yellow radiance emanates from her, permeating the entire church. Miraculously, this light instantaneously restores the health of all the infected individuals within its reach. The people near Saints express gratitude, hailing her as a lifesaver. Yet, Vikir's expression reveals concern. Recognizing the extent of her power, he acknowledges the need to transport the miraculous holy water to the forest.
Thanks for watching KingLeywin channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and leave the comment until the next video.